All right. Here we are, a week of Thanksgiving. Want to go ahead and hand the presentation over to Sam. So I think, Sam, you've probably got some photos to show this last month's progress, and we can talk about where we're going afterwards.
Yep, sure do. Thanks, Danielle.
Mm-hmm.
I will share my screen. Everyone see that all right?
It's coming up. There we go. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I just got some photos from since the last time we met. This is outside here, the transformer pad getting set. So all this electrical is coming from the electrical room. You can see the pad formed up, and then here's it poured a couple days later. So just want to show that. XL, they were on site yesterday, the last couple days, and they were boring from the courthouse over. They had to reroute some electrical, and sounds like the transformer will be set perhaps next week. So they're waiting on a couple of things, but yeah, they did the boring yesterday or the last 2 days. Here's the electrical room just to show you the kind of the extent of all the underground that had to come up through there. Here's the mechanical room. This would be the electrical room off to the side. Mechanical room, here's the boilers for the heating system in the building. There'll be water heaters kind of on this pad. They're going to be arriving today. They're pretty big water heaters. I'll have a photo next time we meet for that. Here's a picture of the roof of the mechanical room. So here would be the boilers are sitting right below here, and then the water heaters will be right below here. So just to get you an idea kind of how big that room is. Moving into the building, I wanted to share a couple photos of the above cell of the security wall that's going up. So it's steel stud, and then there's a security mesh on it, and then there's impact resistant gyp board, which you'll see as well. So there's kind of a lot that goes into it. These, if you look in the corner, we left these access panels for the for people to get back in there and work the mechanical trades and whatnot. So each one of those has that. So that'll get covered up once all the work's done in there. There's access from the chase, but this is a little easier with off a lift. Here's the gyp board on there on above one of the cells. You can see there's our access there. So another picture there. Here is behind the cells. This is just a little bit of the plumbing, the double decker, obviously, and it still has to get the HVAC tied right there, and the water lines, sprinkler, a little more electrical. But here's kind of the start of it. There's going to be a wall built behind there too, so it's not going to be as wide open as you see. Next picture here. Here's a picture of a more completed chase. This still needs to get water lines, sprinkler lines, and there's going to be water mains on this back wall here. But just to kind of give you an idea of what the chases are looking like, this is where a bulk of the work is happening at the moment, inside at least, along with some door frames and I guess some miscellaneous stuff that they're pouring. They just did the steps yesterday to get up to the roof access. Here's a photo of a lift back there, and I know that was a big point of emphasis from the county. I know, Steve, I don't know if you wanted to comment on that.
Well, just to reiterate in past conversations on some of these meetings, I'd always talk about how every time that we went around to another facility that was already built, we weren't there to look at what we thought was nice and cool, and we were always there to see like what would they change and be different. So what would keep people from getting slips, trips, and falls? What kind of issues did they have? Even though during the build they thought it was all good, once they actually got in and started functioning the jail, they thought, oh, we wish we would have done that different. Well, one portion of this build of a big consideration was the pipe chases. So we wanted to make sure that the pipe chase width in the back was 35 1/4 inches to be able to get a lift like you see back here. So when Aaron Lafee's department goes back there to do maintenance into the future, believe it or not, it'll actually save money because money is time. So if you have a vendor or someone working back there and they're spending a lot of exorbitant time back there, just trying to get around the stuff, we wanted to get away from that. The second thing was the grader part, which to make sure that when they get their equipment back there, they can get it back to where they need to get it to. There was a lot of jails that would bring in their tools and their toolkits and the designed equipment needed to take care of whatever it is, a plugged toilet or something to do with something going bad with plumbing, which will happen. And they couldn't even get it back to us. So they'd open up the door of the pipe chase, walk in a few feet and get stuck. And stuff does happen, but I all along made sure that this was not going to happen. And working with the architect, Klein McCarthy, working with Market and Johnson, and then directly with the vendors every day, everybody is more than on board to make sure that they know that we have to try to keep this as open as possible. This snapshot is going to look different probably in another month or two because there's going to be a lot more stuff back there. This is just the beginning of it. It's going to get a lot busier really quick. So it's really important, absolutely imperative that at the beginning stages of it that we stick as much to the walls and into the jail cells as possible. So that's been pretty much an ongoing thing because, as you know, a lot of times, sometimes people just sort of do things because it's easier and don't really look at what's going to have issues down the road. So we're trying to make sure that we don't have those issues down the road. And I guess the best person to really talk to would be Greg Olson because he knows what's going on down in Houston. So nothing bad with Houston, but it makes a big difference when you do it one way or do it the other.
Steve, I would just like to thank you very much for that emphasis. Obviously, like you say, it's when somebody's running a pipe, it might save them, a few minutes to run it someplace versus someplace else. But then that's in the way then for the life of the building. But the idea of being able to fit a lift back there is huge versus trying to drag a ladder in and snake that in between the things that'll be in the way. And then for staff, if you need to work on something, if you imagine working from a ladder versus working on a lift, I mean, it's huge. So I just want to thank you very much for that emphasis and give you just a little bit of an impetus to just keep it going.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from this picture, but that ceiling is 30 feet high, so it's up there. and like Steve said, it's going to get a lot busier. But everyone's been, I thought, doing a pretty good job trying to keep everything as tight as possible. So, moving on. Here's these got delivered last week. The walk-in coolers, or fridge and freezer, and they still got to get poured another floor, so it'll be a flush walkthrough. But so we're moving along there. Then moving on to the outside of the building, you guys driving by, you'll probably see them set up out front. Here's the kitchen area. They close up that hole after the cells are delivered. Here's out front. They are finishing up this side today and starting on this side over here. This is pretty much the last of the veneer. There's a couple little spots here and there, but they're pretty minor. So it looks like possibly by tomorrow, for sure by next week, that they're going to be finished with the veneer, and the masons will be moving inside to work on some of the interior partition walls that they have left. Just to give you a little bit of an idea, I got these numbers from our head mason here. There's roughly 13,000 linear feet of stone on the building, 125,000 brick, and then about 100,000 CMU blocks throughout the building as well. Couple other notes: the roofers, they're still up on the roof working. They are getting that it's gonna be watertight tomorrow from the sounds of it, and then they still have to go back and add some more insulation throughout. But they're gonna get that watertight and then work in smaller sections just to keep the project moving along. The window guys, the glazing, they're here. They're putting the frames on this week, and you'll see the windows starting to go on next week. And then I think about the exterior stuff's going to be done probably next week, or within the next couple weeks, and then the bulk of everything's going to be inside for the winter. So probably not going to see a lot driving by, but there's going to be a lot going on inside. We're roughly 60% complete. We're tracking right along on the schedule wise. So about 60% of the time, 60% of the work, I would say, is tracking pretty close.
And there is some heat in there now too, so they do have it buttoned up enough to have some heat, so all the vendors can continue on without worries of, like, the water, as Sam was talking about, coming down through the roof. And then the second is to make sure that the stuff seals up and does what it's supposed to without being, worrying about it freezing. So they did just get done pouring the stairs going from the tunnel all the way up to the roof yesterday. So obviously that needed some kind of heat on it as well too. But when you walk into it, I'd say the average is somewhere right around 50 degrees inside of the building.
Yeah, there's spots in the 60s, and
which feels pretty balmy compared to when it was 19 degrees outside.
Yeah, a lot of the products need to be at a certain temperature, paint and stuff like that. So I guess one thing I did forget to mention was the interior remodel. Been a little bit at a standstill, but I think that's gonna rev up a little bit here too. They're gonna get the sheetrock up and get the floor done, and then move on to the base. There's a little bit to do in the basement, so that'll get going. We got an air handler coming in December, so that was kind of what we're waiting on for that. So I will put out there if there's any questions on anything. Happy to answer. Or Danielle, if you had anything to add on any of that.
No, I think you guys covered it quite well.
What's your biggest challenge in the next month or two?
Biggest challenge. I think just we got the masons moving inside, so it's gonna get pretty tight in there. There's gonna be a lot of trades working, and so coordination is probably gonna be the biggest challenge.
Okay.
We're gonna have the mechanical trades move to the administration side for several weeks while the masons get the day room areas built up. And then once they get those day rooms done, then that's going to open up a lot of work for the rest of the trades. So yeah, I think coordination between trades will be the biggest challenge.
Probably making sure that they for sure button up the roof good, because obviously if that starts to leak it all day, that just causes havoc down the line. Water touching metal doesn't work very well, or start to put up walls, that doesn't work very well.
Absolutely right. Well, new roof should be able to get that right, but yeah, you're absolutely right. That needs to be done in the correct way.
Any other questions from anyone?
Well, this is Karin. I just want to make a comment. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I didn't see my little, thing go on. It's just been really great to watch from my window. I have a good perch to watch you guys, and it's just amazing. I want to thank everyone who's working on that, and I echo Dave's comments about Steve being that forward thinking and thinking about the messy parts that you never really think about. But it's you really have coordinated this so well. Everybody's working and I think we've gotten used to the parking situation, doing a little more walking, so anyways, but thank you. It's really been great to watch it come up and watch you guys work, and you do a great job, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
There's another attorney and he's got nothing to say, Alex.
Yeah.
I would just recommend anyone who hasn't taken a tour to take a tour of the place. It was pretty good. I got to go with Steve a couple weeks ago, and maybe I'll go see it again once we're close to finished.
Absolutely. Anybody's welcome. Just let me know. We'll get a hard hat and a little safety vest for you, and we'll walk on through. And it's much nicer now with this. It's not heated
Yeah,
comfort,
now that there's heat.
but there's heat in there to make it comfortable for taking a tour. That's for sure. And I know when like Commissioner Kavesi came through at one time, there was still sand down. It wasn't concrete all over. And now it makes a big difference that there's concrete floors everywhere. So it's much safer. You can now start to see the vision of what it's going to look like rather than just looking at a blueprint and then trying to imagine what it's going to be like. You can see it with the cells. Like Sam was saying, once the masons get inside and actually start to put in the interior walls, this thing is going to take shape completely. And it's initially, I think, I'm going to use the word stunned a few people that came in thinking how big the building was because it was so wide open. As these walls keep coming in, it doesn't look so big anymore. It looks more like it's supposed to as a function. So the walls that are coming in, the cells coming in, the security screening that's coming above the cells keeps taking away that view, right? So what's behind the cell. So you're starting to see what the living area is going to look like in that square footage. So it keeps doing a metamorphosis about every month or two. So even Alex, every month or two to keep going through makes a big difference. So I'm always willing to take anybody. Just give me enough time so we can make it happen. Nothing?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I don't have anything else. I know it's a shock. It's almost Thanksgiving. I'm getting ready to eat a lot of turkey.
The only item I had was just looking at the schedule next. I know Heidi alerted me that we've got a conflict where I think we were scheduled to be, what was it, the 27th of December at 9 a.m., but I believe there's a board meeting then. So we were going back and forth about when we could really reschedule. I was proposing December 20th, but I believe there's another meeting scheduled for some of you at 9 a.m. But is that meeting going to wrap up by 10 a.m.? Is that a reasonable time to reschedule this meeting for?
I would say not.
Okay.
I guess I wouldn't
So it's
count
gonna
on
be
that.
longer.
I wouldn't count
Yeah.
on that. Otherwise, maybe go earlier. I mean, these tend to go half hour, less than a half an hour, 8:30, or I mean,
Yeah.
like maybe 8 or something like that on the 27th or 20th.
Yeah. I think 8:30 is reasonable. I think you're right. We've been able to get through these meetings in 15 to 20 minutes. So if that works with you guys,
Well,
I'm fine.
when I said
8 a.m. works too.
8:30, but then for those going to the county board, if they need to physically go there, I think we don't want to stress that
Mhm.
either. So maybe 8:15 or 8.
Yeah, but so you're saying keep it on the 27th?
Well, I guess
think
either
some of us-
way, but
Yeah.
I'd agree
I
with
think a
Dave.
lot of people are trying to. Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with Dave. I think if we move it forward on whatever date, let's move it enough forward so people can still attend whatever they need to right after, give them enough travel time or get their stuff together time, right? So
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Otherwise, it'll,
yeah.
They'll kind of get be stressed coming into that board meeting, and that's not good. I want to have time to get everything arranged and be ready.
Mm-hmm. Sam, are you taking time off the week after Christmas? Would you want to move it to the 20th?
No, either day is fine for me. So whatever works best for anyone else.
Okay. Yeah, I'm open on the 20th. But yeah, 8 a.m. on the 20th. Good. Okay. Yeah, because I know Dave and I think Karn have that 9 a.m. on the 20th. Okay. So we'll go ahead and move the 27th meeting to the 20th at 8 a.m. Okay. All right. Anything else? Good. you next month. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You all
Happy
too.
Thanksgiving.
Thanks.
Bye.
Same here.